right before the All-Star break ended. He was 4 for 5 in that last game with 5 RBI, but they put up 19 runs. So it's a good ballpark to hit in, and a couple guys who are swinging it really well right now look to keep that going here. One being Yuli Gurriel, you've seen in this video right here from last year, but he's feeling pretty good right now, and you know he's not going to want to slow down with a family affair happening here at the Rogers Center. TK and Blummer, and I'll leave you with this as we look at the last 10 against Toronto. So this is either at home or on the road. Astros fare pretty well against the Blue Jays. TK.
That's a lot of offense. 80 runs in 10 games for the Houston Astros, and they'll hope to keep that rolling tonight and kick off this 3-game series. Their final road trip of the year. They have not had a losing road trip since all the way back in May. And they finished off the first half last year with a strong series here in Toronto. Here is the starting lineup tonight for AJ Hinch, presented by Southwest Airlines. At the top is George Springer, followed by Jose Altuve. Good to see Springer back in there. Alex Bregman plays shortstop tonight. Yuli Gurriel bats cleanup and plays first base. Evan Gattis back in the DH role. Brian McCann catches. Josh Reddick bats 7th in right field. J.D. Davis gets a start at third base. And Tony Kemp will play left field and bat 9th.
Marco Estrada, right-hander, going for the Toronto Blue Jays against these Houston Astros. 27 starts this season. He has 11 quality starts. The batting average against him is at .270. Interesting number 2 is he gives up a lot of fly balls and a lot of them leave the ballpark. Sitting at 27 right now. Set a career high in home runs given up last season with 31.
Estrada will make this start against the Astros. Second start of the year against Houston. And he will face George Springer. Had the day off yesterday, kind of resting that thumb, and back in there to lead things off tonight. Astros overall 12-5 in their last 17 games against the Blue Jays. Start tonight with that magic number of 3. Any combination of 3 Astro wins or Oakland Athletic losses. And the Astros will be division champions for back-to-back seasons. Underway from the Rogers Center as Estrada delivers, and so does George Springer into left center field. What a way to start this road trip as the Astros looking to clinch as Springer doubles to the wall in left center.
It's a good start for the Astros, and that's what they do here is they hit baseballs very hard. Marco Estrada comes at you with a fastball averaging just around 88.5 miles an hour, so nothing real dazzling on that. MD Anderson strike zone is going to give you an idea of where that pitch was located, just over that outside corner. After that fastball, you're going to see a lot of changeups from Marco Estrada.
Finally get the glove out for George to protect that thumb.
Yeah, good idea. Did he not anticipate getting on base?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I mean, part bat boy responsibility.
Oh, you went right to the bat boy?
Part first base coach responsibility.
Yeah.
But how much can Cintron carry with him? As Altuve swings the first pitch and sends a fly ball to left. Jonathan Davis is there. George is going to tag and fluff. Davis's throw comes back into the infield. So the Astros getting aggressive early.
No, they're getting on that fastball. They don't want to get to the changeup.
Estrada will throw that changeup, as Blummer said, a whole lot. Picks up the majority of his strikeouts on that changeup. But another extra base hit allowed now puts him tied with Bartolo Colon for the most of the majors, trailing just Dylan Bundy.
Yeah, Marco Estrada gives up a lot of fly balls as it is, but dealing with that back injury also he's been dealing with throughout the course of the season. Sometimes you're unable to finish some of your pitches and leave those elevated.
And really, since coming off the DL, it's not been very good for Estrada overall. 10 starts. He's coming back from the DL at the end of July and a ERA of 7.11. Here's Alex Bregman. Bregman went the entire homestand without an RBI. Coming off the previous homestand where he drove in 17.
Yuli took them all.
Alex did score some runs, 3 of them in the homestand. But still sitting on 30 home runs, still sitting on 50 doubles. and still sitting on 100 RBIs. Picked all those totals up on that final game in Detroit in the last game of that previous road trip.
Hey, can you guys clean those hats up?
Astros went 5-1 on that trip into Boston and Detroit. Three and one to Alex. One thing Alex has been doing with the lack of RBIs and extra base hits on that last road trip, on that last homestand, Alex went just 4 for 29, was he has been drawing a lot of walks. Now the count's full.
Change up at 77. It seems like it takes forever to get to the dish. Good arm action. Alex unable to stay back on it, even though that pitch was in a pretty good spot to hit.
Alex 3 for 6 in his career against Estrada. And a called third strike.
No way.
Alex was taken off the shin guard. Thought he had drawn a walk. Instead, it's strike 3.
Wow. Watch where this crosses. That's right at his hands at the letters. That was a textbook zone. For a first time, we haven't seen that in a long time.
Kerwin Danley behind the plate tonight. He is the crew chief. Mike Estabrook, Chad Fairchild, and Bruce Dreckman on the bases. Here's Yuli. Mano y mano with his younger brother. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. playing shortstop tonight. Yuli at first base. First time they have ever matched up against each other. They played on the same team before. And they had a little press conference before the game, and they are both excited about this series. His family has jerseys that is half Toronto Blue Jay, half Houston Astro.
It's got to be something riding on the game, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of pride.
Oh, yeah.
But big brother and little brother used to battle in video games, too. They actually have an older brother. Yuli's the middle of the three boys. And takes a close pitch. It's 3-1. So how about Yuli showing his little brother he can be patient at the plate in this AB? Normally he's out there swinging at the first couple of pitches.
Yeah, he doesn't usually hang around this long.
The way he's been going, 3-1 pitches are dangerous. We've seen Estrada already throw Bregman a 3-1 changeup. He gives Yuli a fastball there. Now the count's full. Estrada's lost a little bit on the fastball, about a tick down from when we saw him last year. Fastball changeup guy. Highest percentage of changeups in his career. Yuli towards center field with the runner on the move. That's a base hit. George will score. And the Astros take a 1-0 lead. Yuli stays hot, the player of the week in the American League with the RBI.
That was a changeup off the end of the bat. Yuli staying through it back up the big part of the field in center field. Heavy ball out there in front of Pilar.
That'll bring up Evan Gattis. Gattis coming off a couple big games. Evan reached base 4 times yesterday. He's been on base 6 of the last 7 plate appearances.
Good for Evan, too. He needs the confidence. Kind of saw that job kind of snatched away from him from what the Shark has done, getting a lot of those DHABs recently.
2-0 the count. Blue Jays starting defense is presented by Xfinity. They will have the rookie Jonathan Davis in left field, Kevin Pillar in center, Randall Grichuk is in right, Aledmus Diaz and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. on the left side, Richard Urania and Justin Smoke on the right side, and Luke Maley behind the plate tonight. A lot of games started by rookies this year for the Blue Jays as Gaddis takes a strike. A double by Springer, a base hit by Yuli. George was able to score easily on that base hit. He was off with the pitch on the delivery. Yuli on the move, and Gaddis fouls one away. The Astros getting aggressive tonight on the bases. Maybe Yuli wants to show his younger brother got the bat, got the wheels. He's been flashing some leather this year at first base. Yuli might be 34, but he wants to show Unito, as he calls him, that he can still run. Two-two pitch high in the air to left field. Davis will drift towards the line, and he will make the play for the final out. Astros jump in front 1-0. This lineup sent out by John Gibbons. Jonathan Davis leads off in left field, followed by Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Justin Smoke at first base, Randall Grichuk bats fourth in right field, Kevin Pillar in center, Aledmus Diaz at third base at sixth, the former Astro Teoscar Hernandez batting cleanup, Luke Maley behind the plate, and Richard Urania batting ninth.
Left-hander Dallas Keuchel going for your Houston Astros. This will be his 33rd start, getting up to that 200 inning pitched mark. 3.7 ERA. That whip at 1.29. Talked about those last 18 starts since June 16th. He has posted a 3.14 ERA even after that last start against Seattle, where he got blown up for 5 earned runs.
We'll see how this one begins for Dallas. The first inning has been problematic this year, as Jonathan Davis will lead things off. Davis made his major league debut a little less than 3 weeks ago. And takes a called strike here. 25-year-old. Spent most of the season at Double-A, where he hit .302. Also moved up to Triple-A, where in 46 games hit .249. Good speed, stole 26 bags at the minor league level. And this could be a tough play for J.D. Davis on the move. With that speed, Davis is able to beat it out. So Jonathan Davis beats the throw from J.D. Davis, and he's a leadoff base runner to start this game. The Shiner spotlight falls on the Hermanos Gurriel. The brothers Gurriel, Yuli and Lourdes, playing in this series. First set of brothers ever hitting multi-home run games on the same day. This happened in the last homestand.
And this is in chronological sequence. Lourdes went deep to center first, and Yuli with the grand slam. Lourdes here pulling it to left. And then it is Yuli's turn to go into the Crawford boxes for a 2-run home run. 7 RBIs on that day for Yuli Gurriel.
They did the exact same thing every at bat, led by the 24-year-old Lourdes Gurriel, who homered, then Yuli homered. Homered in his second at bat, Yuli homered, single in his third at bat, Yuli singled, and they both grounded out in the final at bat. And a ground ball here. Altuve will try and spin it quickly. Bregman the throw in time. Lourdes hits into a double play as the Astros turn 2.
Good job by Jose and Alex Bregman. Turf might have helped this one out a little bit, but after a soft contact base hit, it was a really good turn by Alex Bregman. Pretty aggressive slide by Davis going into second base. But Alex, just like riding a bike.
Alex certainly enjoys playing the shortstop position. Dallas gets a lot of weak contact and a lot of ground balls, as you see on that graphic. And so far in this game, we've seen weak contact and a ground ball. Here's Justin Smoke, the batter. Smoke with a count of 2-0. He'll have 3 on the left side of the infield against him, with the Astros shifting.
There's that first inning ERA that we keep talking about, 7.31. That actually went up that last outing against Seattle. Just get past that first one. Hey.
It looks good. When Josh Reddick puts it away, Dallas will have gotten through the first inning, only facing 3 batters. A double play helped.
Stropel. We're on Twitter at ATT Sportsnet SW. There you can vote. Tonight's poll is which current trend is most important for the Astros 2018 postseason hopes. How about continuing the road dominance? Springer and Yuli in their resurgence, or Justin Verlander and Garrett Cole just dealing? Vote. We'll let you know which one wins later in the game. TK?
All right, Julia. Yeah, they're all good choices. Tough to continue the road dominance in the postseason. It gets a little more intense once playoffs hit. Last year, it actually flipped in the postseason.
That's what I was just going to get to, too, is that as good as they were in the regular season, the postseason really had the reverse effect where they played extremely good at home.
8-1 at home, 3-6 on the road last year. And at the end of the day, the team ended up with the exact same record home and road in the regular season and the postseason combined. Well, right now we're having a defensive change for the Blue Jays, and our matchup of Gurriel brothers may have ended early as we look at last season on the road versus this year on the road for the Astros. And the pitching this year has dominated on the road, whereas last year it was the offense that was setting all kinds of records.
Yeah, there's no way the offense was going to continue to do what they were doing offensively back-to-back years. That'd be a lot to ask. But the pitching, that much better.
Brian McCann leads off the second inning, and the reason we said the battle between the Gurriel brothers may have ended a little early tonight is because Lourdes Gurriel, after hitting into that double play, is now out of the game. Yangervis Solarte has taken over at third, and Aledmus Diaz has moved from third to short, and that means the 24-year-old Gurriel played 1 inning tonight. That's disappointing. Well, hopefully everything's okay with Lourdes, and we'll get an update on him. Here's Brian McCann with a 3-0 count. Takes a strike.
Yeah, he grounded in the double play that first inning, and here he is taking off. Looks like he's letting it go, and then kind of backs off and speeds up again.
McCann now with a full count.
I really didn't see enough there to give you an explanation on why he's out of there.
McCann deep to right field. This ball way up there in the second deck.
Houstonians, I've got breaking news.
What is that?
It is loud and it is good. McCann in ball.
We've been waiting since June 14th for that. And we actually talked about it in the break.
We did.
We said we're not going to talk about it anymore. But there it is. Brian McCann, his 9th start back to the DL. And his first McCann ball from Blummer in over 3 months. And it's a 2-0 Astros lead.
Oh, that felt good.
Here's Josh Reddick. There's a strike.
Attaboy, P-Mac.
That was crushed.
It really was.
That did not scrape any walls. That was up in the second deck above the bullpen.
Yeah, this is such a good place to hit. Estimated 392.
Now here's Reddick. You see his numbers against Marco Estrada. Reddick has hit in 8 straight games against the Blue Jays. Speaking of enjoying hitting here and hitting against Toronto, but he misses that changeup. It's 1-2. All that hard work coming back from the surgery to the knee, and McCann picks up a home run. That is number 6 on the year for Brian. He is still smiling. Everybody's smiling.
Everybody's smiling. That is great.
Reddick sends one deep to right field. This has a chance, and it's gone. Back-to-back jacks. McCann and Reddick, and the Astros lead 3-0.
The veterans. Talked about Reddick having good numbers against Toronto. Seeing the ball good, feeling good here at Rogers Center. Got a majestic shot from Brian McCann, and then Josh Reddick ends up hitting a laser just over that right field fence.
Reddick up to 16 home runs. And a little tapper by J.D. Davis-Powell. Stares are sometimes delayed now. There's not quite a rhythm to him as there was earlier in the year. That one was kind of a delayed stare by Reddick, but he went with a little hair flare afterwards.
Oh, I get it. Hair flare. Well played.
Thank you. We'll see what J.D. can do here. Takes a strike with a fastball and down to the count 0-2. Reddick and McCann back-to-back. Josh has a .606 slugging percentage in his career against Toronto coming in. That was good for second among the active players, and he did not hurt that number in his first AB. J.D. with 1 home run on the season, hit 17 at AAA Fresno this year. Mentioned Estrada will give up home runs. That's now 29 allowed this season. J.D. in the left field. That'll be playable for Jonathan Davis, who puts it away.
Oh, let's take a peek back at a couple of home run swings. Brian McCann, the first one, down, out over the plate. He knew it. Good to see him hitting against that front side again. 392 feet later, he's got himself his 6th home run. Josh Reddick, very comfortable north of the border, goes down and gets one himself. Low line drive, only a 22-degree launch angle, but hit hard enough to go 346 feet.
Here's Tony Kemp batting with the bases empty and 1 out. So Astros with a run in the first on the RBI by Yuli Gurriel. Now 2 solo home runs, McCann and Reddick. Kemp fouls one back to the screen, down on the count 0-2. Tony coming in batting .277. Has even better numbers when he hits in that number 9 spot. .325 in 60 games in the 9 spot. And if he gets down to the count 0-2, battle's not won by the pitcher. He will go to work at this point.
Yeah, he's not afraid to hit deep in some of these counts.
Puts the ball in play, but pops it up in the air to center field. Kevin Pillar is there, and that's 2 away. And we mentioned Estrada gets a lot of fly ball outs, and some of them leave the yard. He's had all fly ball outs and a strikeout tonight, and also has allowed a couple of home runs. .48 ground ball to fly ball ratio, the lowest in the major leagues. Justin Verlander second on that list. Springer has swung at the first pitch, both at bats. Worked the first time, doesn't work out quite as well this time. He follows his double with a fly out to center. 2 more runs. It's 3-0 Houston.
They're on sale now. There we go. They're on sale now, and fans who purchase can enjoy benefits like guaranteed 2018 postseason priority access. Visit astros.com/season tickets or call 1-877-9-ASTROS for more info. TK?
All right, Julia, there's our buddy right here in Toronto.
Oh, man, he's everywhere.
He is everywhere. Randall Grichuk will lead things off for the Blue Jays in the 2nd inning. Grichuk out of Rosenberg, Texas, 26-year-old outfielder. He's done well here over his last 29 games, batting close to 300 and a lot of extra base hits since the All-Star break.
Got word on Lourdes Gurriel. Left hamstring tightness. It's too bad.
That is too bad. That's a shame because you never want to hear that about anybody, especially this is the series we were hoping to see, Lourdes versus Euler. It's a ball in the right field and a ball one hops over the fence. Ground rule double for Grichuk as he goes the other way to start the second.
Pitch well up and off the plate outside, but Grichuk stays on it, fires it the other way. You got to be looking on that out of third to be able to hit something like that off the plate.
Grichuk now 3 for 6 against Dallas. Now to bring up Kevin Pillar, who was 4 for 8 against the Astros left-hander. Dallas has pitched against Toronto 5 times in his career, including once this season, and has a 4.68 ERA in those 5 starts, but he's 3-0. This year ended up with a no decision in his start, a game which he gave up 6 and 5 in a third innings, and the Astros came back to win 7-6. That was the Bregman walk-off game where he hit the 2-run home run in the 9th inning to win it. Inside, it's 1-2. Pillar coming in batting .249. You may have seen when he first started batting, that is the highest of the qualified batters in this Toronto lineup. It's not usually a total you see at the top of a team's batting average total. But they also have a lot of guys that don't have qualified at bats.
Yeah, I was just say there's a lot of turnover on this roster right now.
Pillar goes down swinging. Dallas picks up his first strikeout. Nice job by Dallas, not allowing the runner to move off second. There's now 1 away.
Good change up down. Bottom dropping out of it.
Now Dallas will face Aledmus Diaz. Diaz started the game at third base, has moved over to shortstop. Diaz has been a pretty good run here the last 9 games, batting .385, pushing that average up to .262 on the year. Want to win the count. Dallas will pitch twice on this road trip. Astros kicking off a 7-game trip tonight. They'll be here for 3 and into Baltimore for the final 4 of the season. Orioles are at home playing the Boston Red Sox. Excuse me, the Orioles are in Boston playing the Red Sox, and then we'll be home for the final series of the season. Boston needs 1 win to wrap up the #1 seed in the postseason.
It's a heck of a finish for the Orioles, huh? Just face the 2 best teams in baseball and call it a year.
And I've already been sitting with 110 losses.
Woo.
Going into Boston and Houston for the final week. And they're about to set the record for most games back in divisional play since 1969.
They can thank Boston for helping them on that.
There's a strike from Dallas. It's 2-2. Orioles are 59.5 games back. And the count's 3-2. Dallas has allowed base hits to the leadoff hitters in the first and the second inning. Was able to work around it last inning with a double play. And Diaz stays alive with a foul at the plate. Well, the Blue Jays are getting an opportunity to pretty much have a little tryout here in September. A lot of different outfielders have been used, different catchers have been used. Just a few veterans in that lineup, and the rest have been young players. The 3-2 pitch misses. Dallas walks Aledmys Diaz, and Toronto has 2 on with 1 out.
Some more numbers on Dallas. In the lower right, the first inning has really been the issue, and it's been that first pitch strike. When he falls behind, has to throw that fastball. Some of the hitters sit on that a little bit. But the second inning on, things get a lot better, and just some proof today. First inning, 0 for 3, the first 3 batters as far as first pitch strikeouts. First 3 in this inning, 3 for 3 with the first pitch strike, but yet he falls behind and walks Aledmys Diaz.
Here's the DH. Familiar name, familiar face. Teoscar Hernandez takes a pitch low. Teoscar coming over to the Blue Jays, batting .239 this year with 20 home runs. He has a lot of extra base hits. 56 of his 111 hits this year for extra bases. On the ground toward short. Bregman to Altuve for 1, and they turn their second double play of the game. Dallas getting the ground balls when he's needed it, and the Astros maintain that 3-0 lead.
Brought to you by HEB. Altuve, Bregman, and Reddick combining for a .441 average versus Toronto since 2017. These guys see the baseball good, and they crush it when they get those pitches in the zone. And again, can't emphasize enough how good it is to hit here at Rogers Center. And these guys really take advantage of it because it's a good place to hit, and they're wearing the gray uniform.
A gray uniform usually bodes well for victories. 52-22 coming in. Astros with the second best mark right now percentage-wise. Only trailing that Mariners team that won 116 games and went 59-22 on the road. Here's Jose Altuve. Why do you feel like it's such a great place to hit?
It's a cookie cutter outfield. It's pretty basic, but the gaps play very true. I like the 375 distance in those gaps plays really true. 400 to center field. It's not an excessive amount, but also the batting eye out there in center field seems to be pretty good to pick up the baseball out of the hand. And for whatever reason, the ball doesn't want to come down when you square it up here at the Rogers Center.
Altuve takes a 2-0 strike. Best road record since 1961. Right now, the Astros would be the second best. The A's in third, and the 0-1 Mariners. The Astros still have a shot. They'd have to go 7-0.
There's a chance.
Telling me there's a chance.
That's all you need.
3-1 pitch here coming to Altuve. I imagine he'll be looking for something to try.
Yeah, this could be an aggressive swing.
At the knees, Altuve thought he had drawn the walk, but he will grab the bat on his way back to the batter's box.
Let's see what our strike zone has to say. Got enough of it.
On the ground, base hit past the third baseman Solarte and into left field. So Altuve now with a 4-game hitting streak with that base hit. Had a pretty good homestand. Starting to see Altuve generate some base hits, which is always a good sign, especially coming off the DL.
Yeah, his on-base percentage in September's gone pretty good. The batting average creeping back up there. He's also got 3 home runs in September too. Tells you the legs are feeling a little bit better for Jose, getting on him and driving the baseball.
Here's Alex Bregman. Alex struck out looking his first time up. Takes a pitch in the dirt. That's the only strikeout for Estrada in this game. Last time he faced the Astros, he struck out just 1. That was on June 27th when 5 innings allowed 4 runs, 3 earned. He was matched up in that game against Dallas Keuchel, and that was the aforementioned Bregman walk-off home run game. Alex takes a strike. It's 1-1. Five-year-old Marco Estrada.
Did you do that?
Nope. Somebody hit the wrong button in the audio booth. At the Rogers Center. Alex.
Maybe it was a warning signal.
Two and one. Astros with a couple of home runs back to back by Brian McCann and Josh Reddick last inning. And a strike taken by Bregman is now 2-2.
I feel like Alex is having a tough time controlling the dial. When we talk about controlling the dial, that means speed your swing up, slow your swing down, have your eyes tell your hands when to go. Seems kind of in between. Again, Alex likes to go out there and rage on the fastball. He's done a good job of hitting the slider, but it really feels like that 75 to 78 mile an hour pitch gives him trouble. I hope I'm wrong on this pitch.
In the dirt, gets away. Altuve easily will get to second. And he'll take an aggressive turn, but hold up as Maile tracks it down. So the wild pitch moves Altuve into scoring position and pushes the count to a full count.
Yeah, Maile didn't exactly square his body up.
Alex sends one to left field. It's hooking away from Davis. That'll be down into the wall. Altuve will score. Bregman into second. Double number 51. RBI number 101. And the Astros now lead 4-0.
Stay back just long enough. Again, his swing is so quick that he has to wait that much longer than your average hitter. It waits long enough, gets this one off the end of the bat, but pulls it away from Davis out there in left field. Those side swings, or the side angles, of Alex Bregman's swing are so pure. His natural path is a long way through that strike zone.
Here's Yuli Gurriel. Speaking of guys that keep the bat in the zone a long time.
Another good example.
Alex just needed to get back on the road to get those extra base hits rolling again. His first double since that Tiger series at Comerica Park. He has been grinding every single day. He's started over 85 games in a row now. And he keeps creeping up those leaderboards. Now matching the third best total in Astros franchise history. Yuli sends one high in the air. Shallow left center. Pilar makes the call on the catch for the first out. So Estrada, mentioned giving up a lot of extra base hits, has allowed 4 tonight of the 6 hits. Springer and Bregman with doubles, McCann and Reddick with home runs, and here's Evan Gattis. Oakland plays tonight in Seattle. They will begin a 3-game series, and the A's will have an off day Thursday while the Astros will play the Baltimore Orioles. But another opportunity for the Astros to post a score for the A's to see before their game begins. 2-0.
Since last season for Evan Gattis. Good risk numbers that you want to see with guys in scoring position, be able to drive them in. That above 300 average, relatively good. But he likes having those runners on as opposed to not.
Evan's been a bit streaky this year, and he seems to be on a good streak here the last 3 games or so as he takes a strike. Blue Jays get bullpen action going in this 3rd inning as Evan also takes strike 2. It's 2-2. Mark Leiter Jr. begins to loosen up. Just missed the corner. It's now full count. Evan has done most of his damage this year on the road. Much better numbers away from Minute Maid Park this season. And he drills one, but he got it in front of it. It hits a line drive seed into the second deck, but it's foul.
It's going to leave a mark.
That was well struck.
Man.
.110 off the bat. Hit that guy in the lap, it looked like. Seems to be okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. Everything's great.
And Gaddis takes a close one. Estrada doesn't like that call. That's ball 4. Estrada visibly upset with that 3-2 pitch being called a ball, and Gaddis is on base.
Close pitch down in the zone, but below it. Did he? Not even close.
Here's Brian McCann.
Usually he swings with the top hand.
That's right.
Or the bottom hand, I apologize. Let's go back to that McCann ball. StatCast AI powered by AWS gives you all the vitals you need. 101.4 off the bat, an ideal launch angle of 31 degrees, getting into that second deck.
Good to see McCann hit that home run. Got the Astros on the board for the second time. Made it a 2-0 game, and it would be followed by a Josh Reddick home run. McCann goes the opposite way this time and slicing towards the crowd. Davis a look, and he runs out of room. McCann had faced Estrada more times than anybody on this Astros team before tonight. 33 ABs. Altuve had the second most at bats with 19, and McCann had never hit a home run against Marco until that second inning.
And the only guy happier than you about it was me.
That was awesome. And the fans on Twitter?
Oh, yeah, they enjoyed. We've been waiting for that.
2-2 the count.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to respond to everybody back on Twitter, but they were definitely in on it.
A little meeting on the mound now with McCann hitting the count to even and 2 runners on with 1 out. Estrada does not throw overly hard, so he needs close pitches, and when he doesn't get them, it can be frustrating.
With the Astros World Champions commemorative brick program, fans can customize a brick with a personal message that will line Champions Walkway at Minute Maid Park. For details and info, visit astros.com/bricks today.
Three and 2. Bregman, who doubled, is on second. Gaddis, who drew a walk, is on first. And now a full count to Brian McCann. McCann hit an 88-mile-an-hour fastball the last time for a home run. See if Estrada challenges him here. He does. Grounded towards the right side. In the shift, though, they only have the one play, and that's to get McCann at first. The shift can help take you in the right spots for ground balls, but it can also make it tough for a double play, as was the case there.
Yeah, and it gives the Astros an extra out. And that's what the shift is there to do. It's there to take away ground ball outs, but sometimes with the runner at first base, it takes you out of the double play.
You know, I'm not so sure Diaz couldn't have run it Gaddis and tried to tag him there.
Yeah, that was not an aggressive path to second base.
With McCann running, probably would have had a chance to turn 2. Instead, it's second and third and 2 outs, and here's Josh Reddick. Reddick with that home run his last time up. It came on a changeup. Josh now has taken over first place for active players in slugging percentage against the Blue Jays, passing Michael Brantley with that home run. This one broken bat off the glove of Estrada. Reddick will get a chance to beat it out, but a play made for the final out of the inning. Urania stayed with it and was able to retire Reddick to end the inning. Astros fail to score and leave, or excuse me, score 1 and now lead 4-0.
by Kubota. Looking at the starting pitching for these Houston Astros here in the last 9. It's been a good month. It's been a good year for the Astros starting rotation, but just looking at the last 9 and what they're doing down the stretch, pretty good stuff. The 2.61 ERA, 64 strikeouts to the 14 walks. They've been doing it all year, but they are feeling good about where they are at the end of the season. Everyone's trying to get in their prime as they get closer to the playoffs. And catching up with Martin Maldonado, who's gotten to know these starting pitchers here lately, getting a chance to work with all of them, told me, the one thing that stood out about this starting rotation, really the whole pitching staff, is the preparation that each guy puts into every start and how much work goes into it and the strengths that they use against the weaknesses of the hitters. It's really stood out to him. It's really impressed him. It's made him a better catcher in how he prepares for games, he said. But when it comes to the strikeouts, these guys just have really good stuff. He said, when I think about all the guys I've worked with and all the staffs I worked with, this is definitely at the top. TK.
Yeah, great to hear. I love how quickly Maldonado has assimilated with his pitching staff too. He right away, first, second start behind there, was encouraging these guys and still had that little cheat sheet because he was still learning pitchers, but he was right in their faces at times. He was not afraid early on to speak his voice, and he quickly became one of the guys in a hurry.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that jumps out to me, is that he's kind of found a nice little niche as far as understanding when to go talk to those guys. And when he does, he's very emphatic about it.
Josh James sitting next to him tonight. More than likely that will be the battery tandem tomorrow for the Astros in game 2 of this series, as Jose Altuve calls off Reddick and puts it away. Luke Maile pops up to start the inning.
League leaders are presented by Houston Methodist. Teams with 3 players in the top 5 all time in innings pitched.
Yeah, 3 of the top 5 this year in innings pitched, all on the Astros staff. Dallas is approaching 200 innings. Only needs 1 out in the next inning. Garrett Cole could get there with his final start, and then Justin Verlander, we know, has already eclipsed that 200 inning plateau.
Yeah, it's just amazing in this day and age where everybody's limiting their innings and pitches. The Astros have 3 guys out there going 200, possibly 200 plus.
And Dallas trying to get there for the 3rd time in his career. Tonight marks Dallas's 33rd start as well, which also matches his career high. He did that in the Cy Young season of 2015.
It's also a credit to the health, getting those guys out there often enough to get that many innings pitched.
We mentioned it yesterday how the Astros went 125 games with the same 5 in the starting rotation. And we are reminded of that because we just saw Lance McCullers return to the team, and he's the one guy that has been missing lately. 2-1 the count to Richard Urania, who bats 9th and plays second base tonight. Urania on the season batting .266 in 79 at bats, 4 for 13 as a right-hand hitter. And the count's 2-2. Dallas is really good when he gets an early lead. He's able to manipulate the zone a little bit, and he knows one mistake's not going to kill him at this point. Just gives that pitcher a little bit extra confidence in being able to throw strikes and get aggressive. There's strike 3 called to Urania. Goes down looking. That's 2 strikeouts for Dallas and 2 outs in the 3rd.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to explain it, but you could definitely see it with the way that Dallas Keuchel is going out there and pitching. Yes, he's on the edges, but he's relaxed and not worried about having to worry about making that mistake that you're talking about, TK. He can be aggressive and say, I'm going to throw this fastball in, and I don't care if the entire baseball is on that inner 3rd. But again, if Dallas is going good, he's able to set up pitches like that last one we just saw.
He is really good at reading swings and working at bats as he faces Jonathan Davis here. Davis hit a ball just tapped down the 3rd base side, and Jonathan Davis ended up beating it out as J.D. Davis couldn't quite make the play in time. This one to shortstop. Bregman has it, and Dallas has his first 1-2-3 inning. We are through 3, and the Astros lead 4-0. season with the Astros leading 4-0 after 3. The Astros will play every day this week, and we will have every game for you on AT&T Sportsnet. And we will also have coverage of what we anticipate being a pretty spectacular celebration at some point.
Yep. We like those.
The magic number is 3. The Astros have not had a losing road trip since May. And all they need is 3 wins on this trip to wrap things up in the AL West. It could happen as early as tomorrow as J.D. Davis swings the first pitch and fouls one away. For it to happen tomorrow, the Astros would have to maintain this lead tonight. The A's would have to lose tonight in Seattle. And then the Astros would have to win tomorrow. If they do get the magic number down to 0 after their game tomorrow, if the A's lose, they would then hold the celebration the following day. And of course, we'll have coverage for you whenever that does happen, as a ground ball to short is taken care of by Aledmys Diaz.
Yeah, it makes for a bizarre setup as far as when to celebrate for the Houston Astros, just because of the time change.
Yeah. Yeah, with the A's playing 3 hours later. If they were within an hour, you'd probably stick around, see what the result is.
Yeah.
But 3 hours is a pretty big commitment. I guess the only way that would change is if the Astros and Jays play a very long game tomorrow, and then, you know, maybe Oakland's trailing in the 5th or 6th inning. Maybe in that scenario they would stay, but I think for the most part they'll head home, or head back to their hotel rather, and then come back the next day and win or lose, get ready to pop the champagne the next day. Tony Kemp takes a pitch. It's 1-1.
As a veteran, I'd be tempted to tell everybody to swing at the first pitch.
The next day?
Yeah.
just get right in the clubhouse.
Guys, I'm thirsty. Let's go.
Well, the other thing, you know, at this point, if the Astros do clinch the AL West, there's really not much at stake, because Boston's going to wrap up the #1 seed. Cleveland's already wrapped up the #3 seed. The only thing at stake is individual numbers and your place in Astros history.
Yeah.
Whether you set the mark for most wins at 102. First things first, though, they have to get 3 more results in their favor as Tony Kemp pops one up on the left side of the infield. Solarte puts it away. And there's 2 away. This week on Astros Bases Loaded, the bullpen gets ready for the postseason. We'll weigh the pros and cons of an electronic strike zone and a shakeup in the farm system. All that and more on Astros Bases Loaded after the postgame show, only on AT&T Sportsnet. You know, that reminds me, as that headline is the bullpen gets ready for the postseason as George Springer bats for the 3rd time. That's another big factor here the final week, is guys that are on the fringe of making that postseason roster are pretty much playing for that final spot or 2, either in the bullpen or on the bench.
Yeah, it's tough because over the 6 months you might have some guys with really good numbers, but do you go off that, or do you go off what they've done recently moving into that postseason? That's where I think things get kind of interesting.
The guy who starts tomorrow has made things even more interesting with Josh James and what he has done. 1-1 pitch is inside to Springer. It's 2-1. James has come in and opened up some eyes, including that guy's. A.J. Hinch likes what he has seen from James in some tough spots, and he likes the fact that 100 miles an hour, 101 plays pretty nicely if he needs another arm out of that bullpen. 1-2-3 inning for Marco Estrada.
Back to the Rogers Center. Astros with a 4-0 lead over the Blue Jays. And some news to update you on. Charlie Morton not with the team here in Toronto as he stayed back in Houston. You might remember his wife Cindy due with their 4th child. She's due this week actually, so he's spending time with his family. He left yesterday's game with right shoulder discomfort after just 1 inning, was checked out and examined by the doctor. So he's dealing with some soreness there, but AJ Hinch said that he does maybe expect him to make another start or 1 more outing before the regular season is done. So it doesn't sound like anything too serious, just a couple of days for him to spend with the family, not do anything, not play catch, to give that shoulder a break. Hopefully baby comes soon, healthy. We wish them all the best and likely to see him with the team again in Baltimore, guys.
Yeah, Julie, that family growing, and we wish them the best. But how many innings has AJ even said? Is it going to be a limited or a reduced start if Charlie does make 1 more start?
Sounds like limited. You know, he wanted to just go 3 innings in that last start, yesterday's start. That was the plan for him, as they were just trying to keep his innings down, but at the same time keep him sharp. So it will likely be something like that if we do see him again later, maybe over the weekend in Baltimore.
There you go. We'll look forward to seeing Charlie back with the team, as Dallas was able to get a fly out off the bat of Jan Hervis Solarte, and now facing Justin Smoke. Smoke flied out to right his first time up. Dallas has retired 5 in a row after a walk to Aledmus Diaz. And the count's 1-1 on Smoke. Two and 1. Dallas pitching here at the Rogers Center for the 3rd time in his career, but the first time since before he won the Cy Young. He has not pitched here since April of 2014. A little flare down the right field line, and that is going to drop in for a base hit. Reddick on the move makes a sliding stop, but Smoke into second base with a double.
Best in Texas Power Pitcher is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Framber Valdez. Another very good relief appearance coming in for Charlie Morton. Said he was prepared to come in, just not that early, but it paid off because he went in there and pitched 6 very good innings and punched out 9 Los Angeles Angels. Fastball, curveball, that 2-seamer running all over the place, but that wicked breaking ball when he got the 2 strikes was nice and put a smile on his face.
How about that? Really looked good out of the bullpen yesterday, and the Astros needed it. Soaked up that whole middle of the game as Randall Grichuk, who doubled his first time up, pops one high in the air. J.D. Davis down the line to make the play and hands the ball to Dallas. And there's 2 away.
Yeah, and I think the best part about Framber and what he did, yes, the 9 strikeouts are fantastic, but how he got to the 9 strikeouts by throwing strikes early.
Well, I think, you know, Framber would have been more of a candidate, I think, had he been throwing strikes throughout the 5 starts and his now 2 relief appearances. The fact that he has had issues with command, I think Josh James might be a little better candidate if one of those young guys does make a postseason bullpen spot.
Completely agree, because when you come out of the pen, you got to be able to throw strikes early and often.
It's nice if he was a lefty that could throw strikes, but he's got a bright future. We've seen a lot of good things from him. Yeah. This ball is hit deep to left field off the bat of Kevin Pillar, and the Blue Jays have cut the lead in half. It's now 4-2. Pillar puts one into the second deck for his 15th home run of the year.
Talked about Pillar seeing the ball pretty good off Dallas Keuchel. We saw that one pretty good. Hanging changeup.
Here's Aledmus Diaz. Takes a pitch for ball 1. Dallas had not allowed a home run to any of these hitters in this lineup. But Pillar now 5 for 10 with that home run against Dallas. He has fouls one back. It's 1-1. Dallas getting 3 1/3 innings of work in this inning. And with that, he's at 200 innings for the season. Had exactly 200 innings in the 2014 season, and then 232 in the Cy Young season of 15. Just the 15th pitcher ever in franchise history to pick up 3 seasons of 200 innings or more. The only other lefties to have done so in Astros history: Bob Nepper, who did it 4 times. Mike Hampton and Jim Deshaies also with 3 years of 200 innings or more. This is down low. It's 3-2. Off the foot of Diaz at the plate. Diaz trying to get the feeling back in that left foot.
Got him pretty good. Get those toes. Just smashed Sergeant Holka.
And ball 4. Dallas has walked Diaz both times tonight. Both times on a 3-2 pitch. And now face Teoscar Hernandez. Teoscar grounded into a double play his first time up. Teoscar involved in the trade last year that brought Francisco Liriano to the Astros. Teoscar Hernandez and Nori Aoki heading to Toronto, and the Astros picked up a left-hander out of their bullpen. Liriano would end up pitching in games 6 and 7 of the World Series for Houston. And it's 1-1. Teoscar's bio in the media guide, he is listed as playing for Fresno last year and Buffalo at the minor league level, and then also for Toronto. He is not listed as playing for the Astros, even though he did play a game and got in a collision with Jose Altuve before he got his first at bat.
Well, the hashtag last year was earn it, and that's how Teoscar earned his World Series ring.
By colliding with the MVP?
By taking Altuve out, trying to take him out of the mix.
So
Teoscar ended up on the DL.
He did. He played 1 game as an Astro, didn't get an at bat, and ended up hurting the MVP for a couple of days. That was a scary collision in Cleveland. 2-2 pitches sliced the other way, out of play. Teoscar was still learning the rule that any pop-up is Altuve's.
Yeah. We got to show him a couple of Bad News Bears movies and explain to him why.
Hernandez stays alive. Cal starting to pick up some pitches in this inning. A little floating double on the right field side by Justin Smoke, then a well-struck baseball by Kevin Pillar into the second deck and left. A walk to Diaz, and now Dallas trying to work through an at-bat to Teoscar Hernandez. And a second consecutive full count.
This will be an interesting conversation. 3-2. Does he want to throw that fastball? Teoscar hits the hits pitches inside very well. So it might be a fastball away or a changeup away. And it might have been McCann saying, hey, he just did a good job of laying off that changeup to get to the 3-2 count. How you feeling? But it should be an interesting choice right here.
Called third strike. Throws him with a fastball. Keuchel picks up a strikeout. That's his third of the game. Department for the annual Badges and Bases H-Town Rundown presented by Chenier. This family-friendly 5K and 10K run will take place next Saturday with proceeds benefiting both organizations. To register visit astros.com/run. Beautiful look at the CN Tower. Roof closed tonight. A little possibility of rain in the vicinity, so they have the roof closed. Normally you can see it up beyond the foul territory on the first base side. Here is Jose Altuve leading off. Altuve singled and scored his last time up and takes a pitch for ball one. Altuve begins his final week of the 2018 season with a .317 batting average. He and Mike Trout have been jockeying back and forth in third place in the batting race. Mookie Betts has a good lead over his teammate J.D. Martinez for the batting crown. Altuve hooks one foul. This will be the first year in the last 5 that Altuve is not going to lead his league in hits. As Tim Meza, the lefty, is warming up. Astros have 4 righties to start the inning, and then McCann and Reddick back to back. Altuve on the ground off the glove of Solarte and into left field. He got one by Solarte last time. This one hit him in the glove, and we'll see how it's ruled. Either way, Altuve, leadoff base runner. Astros have had the leadoff man on 4 of 5 innings.
It's a great angle towards third base. Solarte trying to play it off his left side. Didn't extend far enough. Tips off the glove into left field. It's got to be a knock. Wow, tough error.
Error on Solarte. That'll bring up Alex Bregman. Bregman doubled into the left field corner his first time up. Now it's score Altuve for his 101st RBI of the season. Want to win the count. All sent high in the air to right field. Playable for Grichuk, and he puts it away for out number 1. Julia?
As Yuli Gurriel comes up here, just before the press conference that was held for him and his little brother, it was announced that he was American League Player of the Week for last week. First time in his career that he's received that award. And AJ talking about Yuli and what clicked for him recently. He said just it was really productive for us. He really carried us, and he said every time he came up to bat, it seemed like something positive happened for him. He also showing a lot of power, and definitely one of the storylines for that group on the homestand.
Yeah, he was amazing. What a string of games he put together. 10 hits in 4 games, and Yuli, well-deserved Player of the Week. 1267 OPS for the week. As he misses that pitch, it's 1-1.
Power Player presented by TXU. Yuli, 19 games in September. There's that 1,000 OPS. So gets credit for the week, but it's been a good month for him.
A lot of line drives out of that bat of Yuli Gurriel's. Estrada ahead here, 1-2. There's another line drive into left field for a base hit. Yuli down to the count, able to reach out and single into left field. Astros with runners on first and second.
Now we've got a power player for you, presented by TXU Energy. It's Evan Gattis. Yuli already got his award, so we're going to give Evan Gattis some love. 5 for 9 in the last couple of games. 4 RBIs, getting that confidence up. He's had some hard hit base hits. He's had some drop shots, but all of them count. And we're starting to see him attack that beard high fastball with authority. Helping out the ball club finish off that homestand.
If he gets aggressive on the first pitch here, he's taken a lot of pitches first to ABs, and he takes one outside for ball 1. I'd imagine this could be Estrada's final batter. There's been a lefty warming up, Meza, and the lefties that hit home runs against him are the next 2 hitters. Pitch counts up to 91 for Marco. And Gattis misses the changeup here. It's 1-1. Well, that'll be another big decision for AJ Hinch. Carrying 2 DHs in the postseason. More than likely he'd like to have a big stick off the bench with Evan Gattis and Tyler White vying for the DH at bats. Into center field, coming on Pilar. He will get there for the second out. Does McCann face Estrada? Does he face the lefty who's been warming up? Looks like Estrada's going to be removed from this game as John Gibbons heads out of the dugout. He makes the call to the bullpen. Estrada will be finished after 4 2/3. McCann will face the lefty when we come back. Sportsnet is brought to you by Rooms to Go. Choose from 100 beautiful rooms, all under $1,000. By the new film First Man, only in theaters and IMAX October 12th. And by Nissan, innovation that excites. Astros lead this game 4-2. The Blue Jays going to their bullpen with runners on first and second and Brian McCann due up. And McCann will face the lefty Tim Meza.
Some of the numbers on Meza. 33 games, 33 and 2/3 innings pitched. Been pretty good this month of September.
Gets a lot of strikeouts, has recorded a strikeout for his last 6 outs as he faces McCann, who hit a home run his first time up. They give the Astros a 2-0 lead. McCann's also grounded out. He's a fastball slider guy. Starts off McCann with a slider and he slashes it into the crowd.
Another look at that home run from Brian McCann. All hit pretty well.
We have seen better swings from McCann since that surgery.
Yeah, went to the warning track to the opposite field yesterday, pulled one, then eventually got a base hit to drive in a big run in a big situation.
He said he feels as good as he has felt in the last 3 years as Altuve and Gurriel are the base runners, and the Blue Jays with that shift that McCann always sees. Brian with the on-base percentage at .400 since coming back off the DL. And Meza misses. It's 2-1.
Yeah, if you watch Brian McCann take batting practice, the first couple of rounds he really emphasizes on trying to stay inside the baseball and go the other way. Tough to do all the time in the game just because certain pitches. But I'm sure the mentality right now is to keep that front shoulder closed and try and go up the middle the other way, especially with a runner in scoring position.
Towards the middle, and the fielder's choice on the glove by Diaz, who steps on the bag. So the Astros will strand 2, still lead at 4-2.
The AT&T Sportsnet app from iTunes or Google Play, or visit AT&TSportsnet.com to stream on your computer. Log in with your cable account and you're all set. Available for those with AT&T Sportsnet in their TV subscription. Blackouts and territorial restrictions apply.
We head to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Dallas Keuchel facing the 8, 9, and 1 hitters. He was able to retire them in order in the 3rd inning. That was his lone 1, 2, 3 innings so far. Luke Maile, Richard Urania, and Jonathan Davis due up. Dallas working with a 2-run lead to start this inning after the 2-run home run by Kevin Pillar in the 4th. Maley, a guy who has just limited at bats the last 10 days or so, 2 at bats. They have been looking at their younger catchers, Reese McGuire and Danny Jansen, a little bit more, but Maley getting the start tonight. Hits this ball hard and past J.D. Davis into left field. Well, Maley on a 2-0 pitch drills a single to left. The Blue Jays have had the leadoff runner on 3 of the 5 innings.
Good swing. That ball was smoked.
I'll bring up Richard Urania, who struck out looking his first time up. Astros face the Blue Jays back in Houston. The end of June, won 2 out of 3 in that series. That was right at the midpoint of the season, now facing the last week of the year. Slowly hit towards third. J.D. Davis gloves, throws off balance. It's wide and it gets past Yuli into the outfield. Heading to second, Urania. Reddick can't find the handle. Blue Jays have the tying runs aboard with nobody out in the 5th.
Some more soft contact against Dallas Keuchel. JD with a good job on the short hop, just didn't close the shoulder enough to get the throw on the bag.
There'll be a single, then an error on the throw to allow each runner to move up. Dallas will face Jonathan Davis. Urania the tying run now on second base. Davis an infield hit. He chopped one towards Davis's first time up. He's also grounded out to short. Two and 0.
Dallas Keuchel on the mound. He's a heavy ground ball guy. We talk about it all the time. Also creates that soft contact. That's why it was a little interesting to me to see Marwin Gonzalez, one of the better defenders in the infield for the Astros. J.D. Davis over there playing third base. Not that he's terrible, but it's not Marwin Gonzalez and Alex Bregman on the left side of that field.
Dallas leads the majors in soft contact. We have seen some soft contact tonight hurt Dallas. Davis in the first inning and Urania just there. 4-pitch walk to Jonathan Davis will load the bases. Well, Dallas will face Jan Hervis Solarte with a runner at every base. Solarte's a guy that will hit into a double play, leads the team in that category. He's hit into 21 double plays on the season, and Dallas has 2 so far tonight to get out of a jam in the second inning. Also got a double play in the first. Down and in, it's 1-0.
Some of the numbers on the last 100 baseballs put in play by Solarte. Up the middle and to the shortstop a majority of the time.
This ball hit past the shortstop into left field for a base hit. And it's now a 4-3 game. The bases remain loaded with nobody out. Solarte an RBI single.
Good job of staying down on that pitch for Solarte. And again, you play in for that double play depth. It kind of cuts down on the angles you're able to cover just out of the reach of Alex Bregman.
Well, Dallas will face Justin Smoak with the bases loaded. Smoak is flied out to right and flared a double down the right field line. Astros scored each of the first 3 innings to take a 4-0 lead. The Blue Jays came back with 2 in the 4th. 1 so far in the 5th, threatening for more. 2-0 the count. Been a little bit of a reversal from when Dallas has struggled in that first inning and then settled in. Tonight he went through 3 innings facing 1 more than the minimum. Then has been bitten here in the 4th and 5th innings. There's a strike. Snapped a streak of 6 out of 7 out of the zone. Strike to ball ratio is not quite where Dallas is used to. He's the 38 strikes, 35 balls in this game, and he's in a spot here 3-1 with the bases loaded. And their leader in home runs and RBIs in a hitter's count. Smoak with that double his last time up is now 2 for 11 in his career against Dallas. Called third strike. Smoak strikes out with the bases loaded. And there's 1 away.
Looks like a pretty good pitch. Set up inside, but the fastball locks everybody up and catches the bottom portion of that zone.
Here's Randal Grichuk. Grichuk has doubled and popped up. House would love to get a ground ball here. Or a pop-up if it stays in play, but it's going to head towards the well. It actually almost hits our own Julia Morales.
She almost ran right into it.
Yeah, she did. It hit the rail and almost caught her off the deflection.
Danger.
Showing the speed. You all right, Julia?
Yeah, it was a different kind of exit velocity.
It scared her a little. How you doing down there?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
I just didn't want to run into anybody.
You almost ran
So
into
look at all my friends here.
Aw.
I bail. You guys know this. I just bail. I
Yes, please do. Don't do anything heroic.
Now Dallas ahead 0-2. Bounces in there. You know, smoking. John Gibbons can be frustrated with that call, but on our strike zone, we showed it at the knees, and that's such a close pitch anyhow, a 3-2.
Yeah, we see it with the Astros, and we've even mentioned it with the Astros. In 2 strikes, you got to protect. You don't want to leave it in the hands of the umpire because something like that could happen, especially in a bases loaded situation.
On the ground towards third. JD has it. He's going to come home. They get the force out at home for the second out. And the bases remain loaded, but Dallas has maintained that 4-3 lead with a strikeout and now fielder's choice.
Big chopper, and when JD came in, I think his decision was he's going to go towards the base where that momentum was going. If it took him to his left, he probably would have thrown it to second base. If it took him to his right, probably step on third, throw across. But this one brings him in, so he gets that lead runner at home.
Now Dallas will face Kevin Pillar, who hit a home run his last time up. He's also struck out. Third baseman, you're going through every scenario before that pitch is made, right?
Yeah, you know, and you have to first of all say, I want the ball hit to me. Next thing you got to say, with the bases loaded, so you know you can go to multiple options out there. So if it moves you to your left, throw it to second base. If it moves you to your right, step on the bag, throw across. But JD made a great decision coming in, catching that short hop, and make sure the sure out at home plate.
1-1. Dallas allowing a run in this inning, but trying to strand the bases loaded. Yeah, the bases loaded, nobody out, facing Smoke, the 3-hitter, and Grichuk, the cleanup hitter. Now facing Kevin Pillar, who is 5 for 10 in his career against Keuchel. Dallas ahead 1-2. He is one quality pitch away from wiggling away with a lead in this inning. Had a really good pitch count going through 3 innings. He was at 36. He's now at 83, so he has needed 47 pitches here the last couple of innings.
Yeah, some hard hit baseballs in this inning, except for that little tapper down to third base. That walk to Davis, kind of lingering over there at third base.
Now, Dallas walked him on 4 pitches, and even though he's a rookie, there was a base open. It almost looked like he was willing to try and go for a double play with the next guy. It didn't work out, so Solarte drilled a single to left. Pillar fighting off some 1-2 pitches. Takes one outside. It's 2-2. On third base, Davis. On second base, Solarte. On first base, Grichuk. McCann is going to visit Dallas here in this 2-2 count.
Good time for a visit, just to make sure you're on the same page. Maybe walk through a sequence or talk yourself through a sequence on how you're going to go about getting Pillar out in this tough situation. Or it could be, I think you were thinking about throwing this pitch? Are you sure you want to go with it? And make sure, just kind of reinforce the positive with your pitcher out there.
Swing and a miss. Dallas gets him. He strands the bases loaded and keeps the Astros in the lead 4-3 after 5. Dallas Keuchel, after giving up a run last inning, still had the bases loaded, nobody out. He worked out of it. Strikeout, fielder's choice, and a strikeout to end the inning.
Yeah, and that's that four-seam fastball coming to the inside corner on our mattress from Supermo, but you can see a little more. There was a little more pressure on that middle finger, kind of creating that little bit of a down and in cut, getting under the swing of Pilar, but a big pitch.
Tim Meza on to begin the 6th inning. He faced Brian McCann with 2 on and 2 outs and got a fielder's choice to end the inning. Now he'll face Josh Reddick, who has done his share of damage against lefties this year. Reddick fouls one the other way.
You would really like to see this offense step up and add some more runs to this tally.
Meza, when he gets ahead, will show that slider a little more, especially to lefties. So he goes with the fastball, and Reddick fouls it away. Blue Jays do have bullpen action going. Reddick is followed by J.D. Davis and Tony Kemp. There's a couple of lefties this inning. Ryan Tepera warming up in the Toronto bullpen. That slider that misses. It's 1-2. Astros scored 4. Toronto coming back with 3. It's now a 1-run game as we play in the 6th. Blue Jays came off a series where they split the 4-game set against Tampa Bay. This is their final homestand of the year. They'll wrap things up at home on Wednesday, then head down to Tampa Bay for a weekend series to close out the season. Reddick stays alive at 2-2. Josh with home run number 16, his first time up, is also grounded out back to the pitcher, deflecting to the second baseman, and he swings and misses at the slider. Meza able to get Reddick for the first out of the 6th. Meza will stay in to face J.D. Davis with a lefty due up after him. J.D. is flied out to left and grounded out to short. The big league level, J.D. hitting just 172 this year, 16 for 93. He was the league leader in the Pacific Coast League at 342. Takes a pitch for ball one. JD hits one deep to left field on the move and looking up off the top of the wall. Barehanded by Davis. He's going to hold JD to a single. Ball was hit too hard.
Good swing by JD. Just a little bit too low of a launch angle, but man, he kept the hands back nicely on that 85-mile-an-hour slider and then barreled it up on a line. That was 112 miles an hour off the bat.
Ooh.
That got to the wall in a hurry.
So we've seen two singles today that have dribbled down the third baseline. And then that single's 112 miles an hour off the wall.
Trying to hit a home run through the wall.
Here's Tony Kemp. Tony looking for his first hit, has flied out and popped up. That was by far the hardest hit baseball of this game by more than 5 miles an hour. The 3 home runs were all around 100 miles an hour. Ground balls, just foul.
Ooh.
That was close to being a fair ball.
I thought I saw chalk on that second bounce.
Works out for Smoke because he was unable to handle it. And it counts 1-2 on Tony Kemp.
Tony turns on that one. Yeah, realistically, he only steps on the bag to get that out. JD's at second base. But it's another opportunity for Tony.
2-2.
You know how much we love exit velocities and launch angles. That baseball that JD hit at almost 112 miles an hour off the bat, same launch angle as Josh Reddick's.
Wow.
Hit to a different part of the ballpark, obviously.
And stayed on top of the wall instead of just clearing it.
Yep.
Kemp strikes out, and with the righties due up, John Gibbons back out of the dugout. He will go back to his bullpen. The lefty Meza facing 3 of 4 lefties at the bottom of the Astros lineup. And now he will go to a new arm to face George Springer when we come back. Who am I? Buns.
Oh boy.
No, no, no.
Man,
2 clues tonight. 2 clues.
That's all you. It really only needed one. And it's not the no, no, no.
Send your guess to @ATT Sportsnet SW. Tonight's Name That Astro. On we go to a new pitcher, Ryan Tepera, coming in out of the bullpen with a runner on and 2 outs.
Tepera throws pretty hard, gets up to 95, 96 on that fastball, 65 games this season, 3.75 ERA. But he throws a lot of fastballs and sliders to right-handed hitters.
Facing George Springer here with J.D. Davis on first with 2 outs. Springer doubled to start this game on the very first pitch, scored a run. George is now up to 99 runs scored as he came around on a Yuli Gurriel single. He is one shy of reaching 100 runs scored for the 3rd consecutive season. 2-0 the count. Pair mostly fastball, slider, an occasional curve, and a change every once in a while to a lefty. JD's not going anywhere, but a check at first. Three and 0. George taking all the way. Red Sox lead their game 6-1. They're in the 5th inning against the Orioles. Red Sox with a win would set a franchise record for most wins ever. And it would also lock in Boston to the #1 seed in the postseason. George pretty healthy, average at 3-1 as he takes one on the inside corner and flips the bat.
Can't do that.
Back into his hand.
Kerwin Danley cannot give that pitch to the pitcher in a 3-1 count. That's a slider that's missed by about 3 feet up and in. And he gets rewarded for it.
John Gibbons had a little talk with Danley after making the pitching change before he headed back to the dugout.
George did a good job in a 3-1 count laying off that pitch.
Davis will be off at first with 2 outs and a full count. On the ground towards third. Solarte's throw gets Springer, and that'll wrap up the top half of the 6th inning. Astros lead 4-3.
Astros lead it, and Astros have a new pitcher on the mound in Joe Smith, the right-hander who actually pitched in the Toronto Blue Jays organization, not for long as he was traded away, but enough to be able to catch up with his old manager John Gibbons and some of the other guys he played with. Enjoyed his time here in Toronto, and the fans enjoying him as well. Actually saw a sign, guys, for BP, Joe Smith's fan. He actually came over to meet her. There we go. Which was a very nice gesture by Joe to sign an autograph for some of his old fans. But Joe, as I mentioned, traded away from Toronto, was put on a good team coming down the stretch in the Cleveland Indians. He's had that happen to him a couple of times, being traded to a team that was working their way to a playoff run, and said, you know, being a part of the Cubs, like, Cubs in 2016, and then the Cleveland Indians, of course, last year, and being traded over mid-season like that, it's tough to kind of find your spot in that bullpen, find your place on that team. Everybody's adrenaline is going, and everyone's trying to get to that finish line, win as many ball games as you can. This year is going to be really special for him with the Houston Astros, as he started in spring training with these guys, really got to develop a relationship with everyone around him, says he's going to really feel like a part of the club as they push for another World Series championship. Not a part of it last year, but is dying to be a part of it here in 2018. Guys.
Yeah, he's been really solid lately, too. Ever since coming off that DL, he's put up some pretty good numbers. Got it. Pitch up to Mike Trout, or down to Mike Trout, that didn't result very well in his last outing, but other than that, he's pitched pretty well since coming off the DL in early July.
Yeah, he was definitely one of those guys added to that bullpen because of that playoff experience and that late inning experience. But sometimes when that fastball finds the fat part of the plate, gets hit around a little bit, but he can go out and get himself some ground balls and get him out of some damage too.
Ledmus Diaz leads off with a base hit. As the fourth time in 6 innings, the Blue Jays have had the leadoff runner on. Smith will now face a pinch hitter for Teoscar Hernandez. Kendrys Morales will pinch hit.
Matches from Supermo. Interesting to see Joe grabbing that four-seam grip.
Morales takes a pitch inside with the slider. It's 1-0. Kendrys Morales batting .252 on the year, has 21 home runs. He's been their most frequent pinch hitter this season. 4 for 19 with a home run as a pinch hitter. Both teams now with 8 hits. He has on base for the 3rd time, 2 walks and a single. Two and 1. Astros have double barrel action going right now in this 1-run game in the 6th inning. Will Harris the righty, Tony Sipp the lefty. Joe picks up a strike on the edge. It's 2-2. Dallas ended up going 5 innings tonight, 7 hits allowed, 3 runs allowed. Straining the bases loaded, getting out of a jam with nobody out and the bases loaded after a run was in, as Kendrys fouls one away.
Last couple of times we've seen Joe, that fastball kind of flattening out a little bit, not as much run to that arm side. See if he can sink this one away.
This is outside and the count's full. Jake Petrichko warming up in the Blue Jays bullpen. Swing and a miss. Smith strikes out Kendrys Morales for the first out in the 6th.
job by Joe. Getting the veteran Morales on that backdoor slider. Morales trying to be as patient as he could, but by the time he pulled the trigger, didn't have much of a shot. But again, you got to protect that outside portion of the zone, even if it's off the plate, it seems, tonight with Kerwin Danley.
Maley takes a strike at the knees. Luke started that rally last inning with a single and scored a run. There we go. Single, single, error, walk, single to load the bases and score a run. And then Dallas went strikeout, fielder's choice out at home plate, and a strikeout to get out of the inning. Here's the ball popped into shallow right. Altuve over, makes the basket catch. With Reddick and Gurriel converging as well. 2 outs. The Astros Foundation invites you to join the Volunteer Corps and take part in various volunteer opportunities, including game day activities at Minute Maid Park, craft parties at local hospitals, and much more. For more information and to sign up, visit astros.com/volunteer. A.J. Hinch out of the dugout. Richard Urania due up, wanting to turn him around. Actually, he'll keep him as a left-hand hitter. Instead of Sip, he is going to Will Harris. So Harris, the righty, will take the place of Joe Smith when we come back. By Nissan. Only 2 clues tonight, and Blummer said he only needed 1. He could name that tune or name that Astro in 1 clue. It was Buns and No, No, No. The answer tonight is Alan Ashby. Played with the Blue Jays here for 2 seasons, 1978 as well as 77, and caught 3 no-nos in his career.
He was a fan favorite up here in Toronto.
Yeah. Did some radio work for the Blue Jays. Will Harris takes over, facing Richard Urania. Urania 1 for 2, strikeout and an infield single. So what was the 1 clue that gave it away?
Having worked with Ash,
yeah.
I appreciate this one so much more, but Buns.
Okay.
Buns gave it away in a heartbeat. And I'm not talking about barbecuing.
60th game of the year for Will.
No, he gathered quite a crowd when he came to the stadium, and it was usually the secretaries at the stadium garnered that nickname.
Picked up a nickname here in Toronto. 2-0 the count to Urania.
Will Harris in. The splits haven't been good with Will this season as far as right and left. He's kept right-handers under 200. Lefties have hit him at 257, but in his career he actually has very good numbers against left-handed hitters with that late cut, 90 to 94 on occasion, but he also has that 12-6 curveball. And actually recently he's been pitching a little bit better in some of these situations against left-handed hitters.
2-1 pitch grounded towards the hole and into center field. Holding up at second will be Diaz as Springer gets it back in. Urania with a single. Astros in the shift and that finding the hole on the left side.
Urania actually did a very good job of, it looked like he was just fighting this pitch off. But with these shifts that we see nowadays, found some open grass and it's going to be a base hit for him. Set up inside, but you can see it catches a large portion of the plate and allows him to get enough on it to get it through the infield.
Here's Jonathan Davis. Davis takes one in, almost hits him. It's 1-0. Davis, an infield hit, a walk. He's also grounded out. Davis batting for the 4th time tonight. Toronto up to 9 hits in this game. Dallas also walked 3 while he was in there. Will fell behind the number 9 hitter Urania 2-0. Picked up a strike on the 3rd delivery, and then Urania with a single into center field. Now he's 2-0 on Davis. Chop foul. It's 2-1. Jonathan Davis getting a chance to play left field tonight. Anthony Alford has seen some time out there recently, trying to get some young guys some playing time here in September and seeing what they can do in some big spots, as they know the Astros have a lot at stake in this series and on this road trip. There's a strike. It's 2-2. Davis, a kid who grew up in Arkansas, went to University of Central Arkansas before he was drafted in the 15th round of the 13 June draft. Bounces in there. McCann covers it up. It's 3-2.
Good job by Brian. It's another thing, having some healthy knees allows you to get down in a better position to block. That one powered down, chested up, keep it in front.
Runners will be off with 2 outs and a full count. Diaz off second, Urania off first. Astros protecting a 4-3 lead. Ground ball back to Will, and he makes the play on one hop. Underhands it to Yuli, and the Astros remain in the lead 4-3 through 6.
tonight, Chevy Stropole. Thanks for following and thanks for participating in our poll tonight. As we get ready for the postseason here, we ask which current trend is the most important for the Astros 2018 postseason hopes. A very close poll tonight. Lots of votes coming in, but the winner is George Springer and Yuli Gurriel and their resurgence. Hoping to keep that going as they head into the postseason, guys.
All right, close votes, all three right there. As we have a new pitcher for the Blue Jays as we head into the 7th inning. Astros leading 4-3, and they'll face the right-hander Jake Petrichka.
Petrichka with his fastball at 95 miles an hour also has a changeup and a slider. 38 strikeouts in 43 1/3 innings pitched, 15 walks. September has not been kind with that ERA at 7.36.
They've had a few guys out of that bullpen that have struggled in September. We've seen it kind of lately as a trend around the league. We've seen a lot of bullpens really getting into this final month and giving up some runs.
We've just seen a lot of bullpens.
That's a good point.
September.
Altuve hit a home run against Petrichka last time they matched up. Saw this guy a lot at the Chicago White Sox. Pitched with the White Sox from 2013 through 2017 and was signed by the Blue Jays this offseason. So Petrichka takes over as the third reliever, fourth pitcher in this game for John Gibbons. Altuve towards the middle on a couple of hops, fielded there by Urania. Jose is retired for out number 1. Now to bring up Alex Bregman. Bregman got back in that extra base hit category as he picked up his 51st double of the year. Still leads baseball in doubles, even though he didn't have any on that last homestand. He has 51 and drove in his 101st run. Right now, that's the difference in this game, as Alex made it 4-0 at the time. It's 4-3. Our last broadcast with Jeff Bagwell in the booth in that Arizona Diamondback series a couple of Saturdays ago, Baggy said he hopes Alex Bregman breaks my mark for most consecutive times on base on the road. They're currently matched up at 52 games. Bagwell did it over the course of 2 seasons. And Alex doing it all this year. Alex had a few games on that homestand where he didn't reach base, but now getting it started again on the road. It's 2-1. Astros offense has been a little quiet since the 3rd. After the Bregman RBI, the last 3 innings, just a couple of singles. Also reached on an error. And it's 2-2. The sooner the Astros can put this division to rest, the better, for obvious reasons. The more time you have to set up your rotation and get guys rest. I would imagine as soon as the Astros wrap up the division, Alex Bregman will get the next day off. He has been in grind mode since mid-May.
No, he could use it. He may never admit to it, which is understandable and one of the things you appreciate about Alex Bregman. But yeah, the body could definitely use it.
Speaking of that, he just drills one off his front foot.
Why not?
McCann's been on the DL. He's had rest. Altuve's been on the DL. He's had rest. Springer, Correa. This is the guy when everybody else has had time on the shelf that has just been right in there doing his thing day in and day out. Called third strike. Bregman down for the 2nd time tonight. Don't see him strike out twice in one game very often.
MLB At Bat is your #1 Astros app. Customize your experience with home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, and more. Download MLB At Bat today.
Here's Yuli, 2 for 3 tonight. Unfortunately, the much anticipated matchup between Yuli and his younger brother only lasted 1 inning this evening. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. leaving after trying to leg out a double play ground ball. Had a little hamstring tightness, left the game. Yuli with 2 hits and 3 at bats, including an RBI his first time up. Down in the count here to Petrichka, 0-2. Bailey out to talk to his right-hander. Yuli has that average all the way up to 290 now with the 2 hits tonight. That is 5 consecutive games for Yuli with a multi-hit effort.
"25 games in August. Substandard for Yuli, but in September he's turned it up a notch, finishing off this season nicely.
They stay in on Yuli here. It's 2-2.
You almost feel as if the offense felt they could just coast through this ball game with those scoring in the first 3 frames. Haven't seen much action since that 3rd inning.
On the ground, Solarte gloves it to his left, and his throw is on the money. Yuli grounds out to end the inning. Petrichka comes in with a 1-2-3-7. 7th inning stretch time here at the Rogers Center. We're going to send it to Kevin Eschenfelder and Mike Stanton in our Rooms to Go lounge.
Driven by GMC. The outs above average, very good for the Astros. 15 of them leads the American League, and they've got a +2 in that catch probability added. Means they're going above and beyond. Much like Jake Marisnick, posterizing Reddick in that Toronto Blue Jays series, robbing Randall Grichuk of possible extra base hits. They have been a lot of fun to watch. Actually, that was Justin Smoke, wasn't it? Left-handed hitter going the other way.
It was.
Got to get my memory checked.
Smoke will be batting in the 2 spot after Yangervis Solarte in this inning. 3rd overall in the lineup, but hitting 2nd in this inning will be Solarte, Smoke, and Grichuk as Will Harris begins his first full inning of work. Astros start the inning with bullpen action, both from the right and left side, as Harris tries to navigate his way through the middle of this lineup. Ground ball towards the open space on the left side. Bregman will glove it, but Solarte with a base hit.
Harris running into some tough luck with the shifts.
He will leave this game after that opening hit into the left side against the shift. Justin Smoke due up, and AJ is going to go back to the bullpen. Pitching change in the 7th, 4-3. Lead. AJ Hinch will turn the switch hitter Justin Smoke around to hit right-handed as Tony Sipp comes into the game.
Tony Sipp last pitched on the 21st against the Angels. Won an inning, had a strikeout through 13 pitches, through 51 games. That ERA sits at 2.00.
Smoke on the year, .370 slug and .321 on base percentage as a righty. .508 slug and .369 on base percentage as a lefty. So he'll hit righty here against Sipp, as he did against Dallas Keuchel. Went 1 for 3 against Keuchel and bats righty against Sipp and fouls one back. Yangervis Solarte with a little infield single the other way against the shift. He's on first base with nobody out. The Blue Jays have had their leadoff runner on in 5 of the 7 innings tonight, including the last 3. Towards the middle, glove by Sipp. He will throw low. Scoop by Altuve, and he turns the double play. Altuve picked the one-hop throw and turned the double play.
Saved Tony Sipp with that throw.
Tony's going to only face the one batter and come out. But this is a little scary here.
Yeah, there's an old saying, long hop or no hop, and that was a long hop, luckily, because Altuve had enough time to pick it, step on the bag, and throw out Smoke running down to first.
Altuve making it look smooth as Sipp's night is over. We will have a new pitcher here in the 7th with the bases cleared. pitcher in 3 batters, and it's Brad Peacock.
See Brad Peacock out there quite a bit. This will be his 59th appearance. 63 1/3 innings pitched, and a massive strikeout number at 94.
Peacock will face Randall Grichuk, who is 1 for 3 with a double tonight. Big double play turned by Jose Altuve on a throw that bounced to him. Jose able to hang in there and turn 2, and a big play to keep this game at 4-3. And now Grichuk facing Peacock with 2 outs and the bases empty. Keuchel for 5, Joe Smith for 2/3, Will Harris for a 1/3. Sip faces 1 batter but ends up with 2/3 of an inning on the double play. And now Brad Peacock. That was the 3rd double play turned by the Astros. The most important one of this game. Nice to see another team hitting in a double plays.
Yes.
It's been the theme for the Houston offense this year.
Stealing some of the Astros thunder.
Swing and a miss. Peacock, a 3-pitch strikeout getting Grichuk. And the Astros maintain that 1-run lead headed to the 8th. Leading 4-3, and they will take on a familiar face in this inning as Tyler Clippard will come in out of the bullpen.
Ex-Astro Tyler Clippard came on last year with the Houston Astros, picked himself up a ring. 66 2/3 innings pitched. He has 82 strikeouts to 23 walks. 5th among American League relievers in appearances. He is fastball, changeup, curveball, slider, split. Mostly that changeup and fastball. He will come after right-handers, fastball, changeup, and the occasional slider and split.
Faces Evan Gattis. Gattis with a couple of hits against Clippard in 7 at-bats. They are both extra base hits, a double and a home run. Clippard gives up a high percentage of balls in the air, a lot of fly ball outs as Gattis sends one to center. Pilar on the move, but he makes a nice sliding catch. Kevin Pilar putting away the fly ball off the bat of Evan Gattis for the first out of the 8th.
You know, that's something that a lot of Toronto Blue Jay fans are accustomed to seeing as Pilar makes some highlight reel type catches. Ball blooped out in front of him. He comes hustling in nicely with a beautiful sliding catch.
Now Clippard faces Brian McCann. Starts him off with a fastball for a strike. McCann hit a home run his first time up. He has since grounded out a couple of times. BMAC's home run is first since June 14th. and his 6th on the season. Clippard last year pitched for the Yankees, the White Sox, and the Astros. 16 games with Houston after being traded to the Astros on August 13th. McCann down to the count 0-2. The veteran catcher Brian McCann against the veteran reliever Tyler Clippard. Clippard has had the better of their matchups as McCann is just 1 for 16 with 8 strikeouts against him. Tried to hold up and he goes around. McCann out number 2. And now I'll bring up Josh Reddick. Reddick also hit a solo home run back in the 2nd, has grounded out and struck out. Since the 3rd inning, when Bregman doubled in the 4th run of the game, the Astros have 2 singles and no walks. They've had 3 men on base. There was an error in the mix. One of the singles was hit extremely hard by J.D. Davis off the top of the left field wall, but not a lot of offense for the Astros since the 3rd. Reddick sends one into center field. Pilar going back on it. Eases up and puts it away. 1-2-3 inning. As we head to the bottom of the 8th, still a 4-3 game. Here is your game summary. The Astros, after a run in the 1st inning, added 2 more in the 2nd.
Big cannonball getting out there, and then backing it up was Josh Reddick getting the pitch down and in and raking it into the right field corner. Good to see the bats come alive early. Like to see a little bit more coming on, but it's been some pitching out of jams for Dallas Keuchel, getting the call right here against Justin Smoke. Ground ball to J.D. Davis, cuts that runner off at home plate. Then a nice cut fastball to get the swing over the top.
7th inning, Tony Sipp gets a comebacker. The only batter he faces, spikes the throw, but Altuve right there for the double play turn. And then the strikeout of Randall Grichuk by Brad Peacock takes us to the 8th inning. Kevin Pilar will lead things off, facing Ryan Presley. Pilar trying to bunt and bunts it foul. Hey, Bregman bunch up in the old hotel here. Renaissance Hotel in center field of the Rogers Center.
That's the way to do it right there. Makes that commute to the ballpark that much easier.
We've seen our share of Astros fans here up in Toronto. Good job by Astros fans wherever we have been this year. And they are hoping to see a division clinched while the Astros are in town. 1-1 the count to Pilar. Pilar made a 4-0 game a 4-2 game with his 15th home run of the year in the 4th inning. Presley ahead 1-2.
It's good to see Presley in the 8th inning being that setup guy. It's kind of how it's unfolded since Ryan's come over from the Minnesota Twins. On the season, 75th appearance. He is a high swing and miss guy with 97 strikeouts.
This is a little bit of a change for AJ. We've seen Hector Rondon often get the 8th as the setup guy, but Hector has struggled lately, and so now Ryan Presley will get the 8th inning and more than likely hand the ball off to Roberto Osuna if it's a save situation at that point in the ninth. On the ground towards J.D. Davis. Makes the play to get Pilar for the first out. Showed you the defensive alignment in the outfield last inning. Cupid Shuffle is in play tonight with Jake Marisnik coming in for defense. Tony Kemp taken out of the game, so Jake in center, Springer in right, and Josh Reddick is in left. There they are, the Cupid Shuffle in Canada.
They are playing no doubles.
That is deep.
Keep that baseball in front of you and keep that runner from advancing an extra 90 feet. Just give him the base hit, make him go base to base.
Aledmus Diaz has been on base 3 times tonight, a couple of walks and a single. Dallas walked 3 in his start tonight. Twice Diaz drew a walk. And Presley with a 1-1 count. There's one thing Ryan Presley has really done a great job is limiting the free passes since coming over to the Astros.
It's kind of funny how you don't really recognize the walk numbers because you're not seeing them, but when you do see them, it really jumps out to you how they can be so detrimental to your efforts.
Joe Biagini and Ken Giles, former Astros closer, warming up in the Toronto bullpen. In the air to right field, Springer. 2 away. On the year, 97 strikeouts to 21 walks, but since he became an Astro, 28 strikeouts to 2 walks.
That is real nice. How much of that you kind of, well, I was just going to ask you how much you feel that there's a Brent Strom influence.
Well, it's got to have a factor.
A little bit, because it's a lot of talent and maybe a little bit of help on the coaching side too, getting him in the zone with some of that stuff.
He's doing that well. He's dropping in that first pitch breaking ball for a strike.
And that's real frustrating as a hitter because you want to be aggressive on the fastball. It's so much easier hitting the straight stuff, and then he just breaks one off. And you say to yourself, okay, that's the one he gets over with. But then when he gets ahead in the count, he goes to the turbo, and you've got no chance. All of a sudden, you're hitting 0-2.
I mean, Kendricks took a curveball in the outside corner for a strike, and then it looked like he was almost looking for another breaking ball because he got locked up on a fastball over the plate. Now he's down 0-2.
Yeah, and this is usually a pretty sharp one down in the dirt to see if he can get some chase. Boom.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Ryan Presley strikes out Kendrys Morales to end the inning. Another strong inning for Presley.
Palm Beaches. Spring training season tickets are now on sale for the 2019 season. For tickets and info, visit astros.com/springtraining. We welcome you back, and an update on Carlos Correa, who hasn't played the last 3, make it now 4 games with the back soreness that he's been dealing with for a lot of this season. The tightness kind of flaring up on him again, so they wanted to give him a break, give him a few days off. The good news is he's been doing some baseball activities pain-free. Took some ground balls yesterday, got here in Toronto, went out to the cage a little bit early, took some more ground balls here. It is unlikely, guys, that he will play tomorrow, but Wednesday is a day they are eyeing to get him back into the lineup, and of course they want him to play in Baltimore as well. But good news for him is he is pain-free during those baseball activities.
Yeah, that's outstanding news, and we look forward to seeing Correa back in the lineup. He's having a good time with his buddy Yuli. But that's a guy who had a huge series here in Toronto last year, and whose bat has been missing not only since he's been on the DL, but post DL. We have not seen the Carlos Correa that we've seen in years past. J.D. Davis takes a strike against the new pitcher.
No, it definitely hasn't been the year that Carlos wants. Check out some of Biagini's numbers, trying to keep this game where it's at. But it's one thing, you know, the back injury kind of hampering the swing of Carlos Correa. Then he kind of started to guess a little bit, got flustered, frustrated. Wow. And then goes on the DL. I think the best thing is when he went out to the field today, he probably said, please don't hurt, please don't hurt. And then he went through the activities and it doesn't hurt. That's a milestone for some guys. So hopefully it puts him in the right frame of mind to know that he can come on the field and do what Carlos can do on the field, which has definitely helped the Astros win ball games.
You're right. This is not going to be the year, no matter what happens in the final 3 or 4 or 5 games for Correa, that his numbers are going to come close to what he's wanted because of the injury. But no one will remember that if he comes up with some big hits in the postseason.
Right. That's exactly.
JD with a count of 1-2. JD last time up hit a ball harder, not only than anybody else in this game, but than anybody else in the major leagues tonight. Hit a ball almost 112 miles an hour, 111.8 off the top of the left field wall. Ended up with a single. He hit it so hard. Down in the count here, 1-2. JD's got some pop as we look at Roberto Osuna warming up, the former Blue Jay. May have a chance to pick up a save here in his first game back as a visitor. JD with 17 home runs this year at the AAA level. Last year hit a total of 30 between Corpus Christi, Fresno, and Houston. Had 4 with the Astros. Just missed his second this year. And now he looks at one low for a ball. It's 2-2. Biagini, the 5th reliever used by John Gibbons tonight. JD with a 3-2 count. Not a very easy task for JD Davis to get at bat sporadically like he has since the call up, but he understands his role. And now give it a good battle in this AB to get the count to full.
I've seen AJ sprinkle in some of these younger guys in these games coming down the stretch. I think it's kind of nice.
Biagini able to pick up a strikeout.
You know, that doesn't end the way he wants it to, but still there's experience. He can say he's played in games that mean something down the stretch.
Jake Marisnick will get his first at bat. Jake came on defensively a couple of innings ago. Jake hitting .202 on the year with 9 home runs. Astros would love to tack on a little insurance run here. Blue Jays will have their 8, 9, and 1 hitters due up in the 9th. Jake hits the ball hard. That's a fair ball down the left field line. Jake is on the move, and he will get at least a second and eases up with a one-out double in the 9th inning.
Nice shot, Jake. Jake from Rake Farm sitting back on this curveball, stays middle, and he pulls it down that left field line. He knows it's a minimum of 2 bases as soon as he sees it get in that corner. Runs himself into scoring position for George.
Jake now 4 for 7 on the year against the Blue Jays with a home run, and George with a chance to pick up an extra run for the Astros here. Springer 1 for 4 with a double and a run scored.
Yeah, I like that number on the right side. 21 runs scored. Top of that lineup.
Just 1 away from 100 runs with a big month of September. George down to the count here, 0-2. Astros scored a run in the first, 2 more in the second, 1 in the third. They have been shut down since by 6 different Blue Jay pitchers. Estrada had a 1-2-3-4 taken out in the 5th. Tim Meza, Ryan Tepera, Jake Petrichka, Tyler Clippard, and now Joe Biagini. Biagini strikes out Springer for out number 2.
Seeing some off speed early from Biagini, getting ahead with that north-south curveball, and then fastballs late.
Now face Jose Altuve. Altuve 1 for 4, reached twice tonight, reached on an error, also singled and scored a run. Biagini, a guy that usually pounds the strike zone, highest first pitch strike of anybody in that bullpen. We know Altuve likes to swing at the first pitch. This time he takes a strike. Biagini ahead 0-2. Nineteen hits combined in this game. Astros have 9. The Blue Jays have 10. Jake adding to that total with a double in this inning. 5 of the 9 hits for the Astros have been extra base hits. Little flare into center field. That's going to drop for a hit. Jake will score easily. Altuve, a big RBI to give the Astros a 2-run lead in the 9th. It's 5-3.
Now Altuve doing Altuve things. Not hit very hard, but perfectly located out there in center field to pick up a big run.
There you go, Altuve!
Set up inside, fastball down and in, jams him a little bit, and he fights it off, delicately placing it in center field for an RBI single.
Big extra run for the Astros and Roberto Osuna in his first game back in Toronto. Altuve drives in his 61st run of the year. Here's Alex Bregman. Bregman takes a strike. Alex, a rare 2 strikeout game tonight. Both times called third strikes in the 1st and the 7th. Also has an RBI double, and he's flied out. Altuve picked off for the final out of the inning. Astros add to the lead on the RBI by Altuve, scoring Jake.
Big blow for the Blue Jays and Jake.
And he remains out upon review.
Yeah, he didn't get a reaction from Altuve. He knew it.
Altuve with the big hit to give the Astros a 5-3 lead. Roberto Osuna running in from the bullpen. He will face his former team for the first time, and we'll come back after this. Sportsnet is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Arctic. Overbuilt, not overpriced. We go to the bottom half of the ninth inning in a two-run game. Roberto Osuna takes over.
Ex-Blue Jay Roberto Osuna. 35 games this season between Toronto and Houston. Whip at 1. 18 of 19 with saves.
Fans with some mixed reviews as Osuna was introduced, as Billy McKinney is the pinch hitter. McKinney hitting for Luke Maley. And fouls one away. McKinney moved to the Blue Jays from the New York Yankees with Brandon Drury. Jay Happ going from Toronto to New York on July 26th. He's been involved in some big trades already in his career. He was involved in the Aroldis Chapman trade when Chapman came over to the Cubs. Originally with Oakland before he was involved in a trade for Jeff Samardzija. A 24-year-old who went to Plano West High School, fouls one off his foot. It stays 1-2. It'll be the pinch hitter McKinney, then the number 9 hitter Richard Urania. On top of the order, Jonathan Davis. Osuna, the closer here in Toronto, before the trade to the Astros while he was on the suspended list. Closer for the Blue Jays with 95 saves coming into this season for Toronto. Gets a swing and a miss here, getting McKinney for a strikeout, the first batter he faces.
Did a good job in that AB of locating that slider down and in. McKinney fought it, but this one just nasty enough to get the swing and miss.
Here's Urania. He's been on base a couple of times, 2 for 3. And a swinging strike. Astros leading 5-3, trying to close out the first game of this road trip. Big run scored in the top half of the inning with Jose Altuve singling home Jake Marisnick to make it 5-3. That was with 2 outs to give a little cushion here where the tying run would not be at the plate for every batter in this inning. Urania down in the count, 1-2. Fouled the other way. Both teams' closers now were the closers for the opposing team when this season began. Osuna here with the Jays, and Ken Giles is now the closer for Toronto. Started the year with the Astros as their closer. Osuna had 9 saves this year with the Blue Jays. 104 saves with Toronto in his 3+ seasons. Three-two pitch. Urania fights it off. The New York Yankees have defeated Tampa Bay. It's good news and bad news for the A's. The bad news is they're trying to chase the Yankees down to try and get home field advantage for that wild card game. The good news for the A's is that clinches their final playoff spot in the American League. The A's will be in the postseason this year with Tampa Bay losing tonight. Pennsylvania stays alive. Osuna began his career here in Toronto as a 20-year-old in the 2015 season. Would pick up 20 saves in his rookie year. Ball hit hard up the middle for a base hit. Urania on board for the third consecutive time. He's now 3 for 4. And the Blue Jays will bring the tying run to the plate.
There's that playoff picture as it stands right now. And that's what the Astros are playing for, to win the West and get that 2 seed to play against the Cleveland Indians. And as it is right now, the Yankees 2 games up on the Athletics. They would host that wild card game, and that winner would head on to the Boston Red Sox.
So we know the 5 teams in the American League playoffs. With a little less than 1 week to go, Rowdy Tellez is going to come on as a pinch hitter here for Jonathan Davis. Tellez made his big league debut just a little less than 3 weeks ago on September 5th. Hit a double on the very first pitch he saw in the major leagues and takes one outside for ball 1. Tellez off to a blistering start in his big league career. He is 19 for 51 with 3 home runs, batting .373. OPS of 1110. Two and 0. Popped into left field. Reddick on. Makes the play for out number 2.
Rowdy got a good pitch to hit. Got a little bit big with the swing and looped under it. Popped it up. Got a little deep on him, and the barrel was underneath.
Now bring up Yangervis Solarte. Solarte batting for the 4th time tonight. He's 2 for 3. Grounds one foul. Well, Osuna tries to close out this game for the Astros. The former Astros closer Ken Giles is warming up in the Blue Jays bullpen. Popped up on the infield. Yuli Gurriel waits for it, and the Astros 1 step closer to a division title. They win tonight 5-3. The former Blue Jay Roberto Osuna picking up the save in his first game back as a visitor here in Toronto. And the Astros' magic number to clinch the AL West is down to 2. They can clinch as early as tomorrow with a 5-3 win tonight. Got a little scary there in the middle of the game, but the Astros able to maintain that lead. And Osuna finishes it out for Dallas Keuchel, who picks up the win. We'll have more, including the post-game show, coming up after this.